When we come to DEI, there's so many things like, we're going into like race, ethnicity, social class, opportunities. And then you're also going into like dietary, religion, neurodivergent, disability, accessibility needs. There's so many different types.
Hi everyone, I'm Louisa Daley and welcome back to another CN conference call. Today I'm joined by one of our very own CN30 under 30s, Narmeen Kamran, who is the Managing Director of Desert Island Events. Today we're going to chat about one of Narmeen's many passions, DEI. Hey Narmeen, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Louisa. How are you?
Good, I'm very good. Lovely weather today.
I know.
So when I was looking at your CN30 application, it said that DEI is one of your passions. And I think DEI is really broad and it can involve and include so many things. So what I wanted to know is, what does it kind of include or mean to you?
So DEI for me is making sure that everyone feels included, catered for, and feels the same and not like less than anyone else. A lot of the times for events, we have this like one size fits all policy, or like within our companies we have this one size fits all policy, when really everyone has different needs, and a lot of things are catered for the majority when we have such a diverse range of people working in our companies and attending events, that we really have to pay attention now. A lot of the time, we have like systemic institutional racism within, the whole country, and that, our industry is not immune to that. So it's learning, what unconscious bias is, what, unintentional discrimination with the words that we use. And yeah, it's just to make sure that everyone is catered and included and not treated any differently.
Yeah, completely. I completely agree. And I think, our people is what makes our industry so incredible. The diverse range of people we have, it makes all our events and all our speakers and, all the things that we put on so interesting to hear all those different experiences. So what I kind of want to know is, what projects are you working on right now where DI is the main focus? Because I know that obviously, you're a big advocate of, event serving non-alcoholic beverages.
Yeah, so that's one of like my power topics. So when we come to DEI, there's so many things like, we're going into like race, ethnicity, social class, opportunities. And then you're also going into like dietary, religion, neurodivergent, disability, accessibility needs. There's so many different types. I've obviously been focusing a lot over the last few months on sober inclusion and about how our industry doesn't cater for those who don't drink at events, even with our own internal events. So that's a lot of things that I've been working on. I've been speaking about it at some different events. I have something really exciting to announce soon. And then also we'll also be launching an industry-wide survey on the use and perception of alcohol at events, with the aim to create more sober inclusive events. And it's not about, one of the things what I always say, it's not about taking away the alcohol, it's about creating better options for those who don't drink. And that's kind of the same when it comes to diversity. It's like, we're not taking away opportunities for people who've always had them, we're creating opportunities for those who haven't.
Definitely. And I think, the creating opportunities point that you made there is so, important and poignant, because, everyone needs to have the same equal platform, because everyone has different experiences and we all need to hear about those different experiences in the industry. And kind of lastly then, I know DEI has been at the top of the industry's agenda for some while now, maybe since the start of the pandemic, because it's given people time to reflect. Do you think that there has been maybe enough change happening lately? Because there's been some amazing and great discussions and also some implementations of initiatives and, company changes. But do you think there's been enough change? And if not, how can we kind of change these conversations into actions?
Yes, there has been some change, but it's mostly been conversation. I do want to say like a big shout out to like the Reach Scholarship, to Diversity Ally, to the Diverse Speakers Bureau, and to all the people involved with that, because they have been doing amazing putting out all of this content and actually, putting forward action. But that's a resource, that is a small group. We need collective change across the industry. This is talking across the board within companies, suppliers, venues, planners, all that we do. We need to become more inclusive. Like, we've been hearing stories of different things that happen, but until like everyone takes action and accepts that, there are things that need to change, then things won't change. I know an example that I use is like, I was discriminated against at an event like just last year, and I shared this experience, and two older white men in this industry denied that and was like, no, we don't have racism in this industry, we are a diverse industry. And I think until that stops, until across the board, people are making change within their language, within their perception, it's not going to change. So we can have all this discussion, but until companies start taking action and looking at their policies, the words they use, saying like cultural fit and things like saying like not corporate enough, these are all going back to all the institutionalized systemic bias, racism, discrimination that you've found for decades. People of color, are seen to be like more aggressive or not corporate enough, and that's just been a bias that's always been there, and they're not given opportunities because they might have a foreign sounding name. I had someone reach out to me on LinkedIn who literally was like, yeah, I don't get opportunities because my name's not English. And until that stops, like there is so much happen, and companies are still doing this to this day. They're still using this language, they still have this bias, and the problem is nothing changes because of because of white privilege and white fragility. Because when we start having these uncomfortable conversations, people will get defensive and say, oh no, I'm not racist, when they don't realize they are having they do have this unintentional bias, and everyone needs to understand, work and learn. And if someone is educating you on that, then take that as a sign of respect, that they don't want you to make this mistake and they are trying to help you change. So it is a lot of like internal work that people need to be doing.
Mm-hmm. And 100% I agree. And I think, it's also about ingraining DI into your event strategy, because if you have that kind of at the forefront of your mind, all your events are going to be diverse, equal and inclusive. And, like you said, it's okay to, see someone putting in the work, and, if they might be getting it wrong, they might be getting it right. But as long as they're making those positive steps and, be open to getting advice and support, like everything will create like positive progress.
Yeah, and there's so much advice and support out there. It's not like it's hard to find. There are all these conversations we've been having, and there are actual like resources. Like, I can share like so many articles that explain like what to do when you've been called out, like unintentional bias, that people can learn and educate and and implement themselves.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for your time, Narmeen. It was really great speaking to you today.
You too. Thank you so much, Louisa.
And thanks for everyone watching. We'll see you in the next CN30 episode.